Hi, I'm Rich Labens, and today we're here at Sure Controls in Appleton, Wisconsin, and we're going to be doing a tutorial video on how to connect a Watlow F4T up to an Allen Bradley PLC, and I will let these guys introduce themselves because they're going to be helping us.
Hello, I'm Paul. I'm a technical support engineer, and I'll be helping Ross over here with throughout the process.
And I'm Ross McVeigh. I'm a controls engineer with Sure Controls, and I'm going to be leading the PLC side of the connection between the F4T and the PLC.
Okay, so with that, let's pop on over to the PLC and we'll get started.
All right, we are in Composer, and we have a basic control loop set up. We've drug in a heat control loop, and we have a thermocouple input connected to it. Once you have your control loop set up, you can go over to Network in order to set up our I/O for our PLC communication. The first thing you want to do is in this Ethernet tab here. You're going to want to set your IP address mode to be fixed. Input your IP address here. For this example, we're going to use 192.168.1.222. Set up your fixed IP subnet to be 255.255.255.0. This should be default. You're going to want to disable any other communication that you're not doing. And for this setup, we're going to be doing Ethernet IP. So we want our Ethernet IP to be enabled. If you do not see these options here, that means your controller part number is not configured for Ethernet IP.
Reach out to your local distributor for options to upgrade your F4T to enable Ethernet IP.
Once you have your Ethernet IP enabled, you'll notice your implicit I/O appear under these assemblies tabs. This is where you're going to set up the communication between the PLC and the controller. In this example, we're going to set up a set point control, and we're going to set up our thermocouple feedback. And we're going to set up feedback that'll tell us what control mode our control loop is in.
If you have not drug any blocks into the function block diagram, they will not show up here. So, for example, if you do not have a control loop set up, no options will show up in your drop downs.
Your implicit O is going to be your outputs from the PLC. So this is the PLC telling the controller the set point, for example. Implicit T is going to be your inputs to the PLC. So this is going to be our F4T telling the PLC the thermocouple input and the control mode. The last thing that's important to remember for setting up your communications between the PLC and the F4T is the data type. You'll want to remember the data types because we're going to have to make a map that matches these data types in the PLC. The next step is you're going to need to download the F4T EDS file from Watlow's website. You can find this from the F4T product page. If you click on Downloads and scroll down to Software and Demos, you can see that there is the F4T D4T EDS file for Ethernet IP. Another important thing to download while you're here is this F4T register list. Depending on what you're trying to communicate between the F4T and the PLC, you might need to reference this register list in order to understand the communication happening. Once you have your EDS file downloaded, you're going to want to add your EDS file to your Rockwell software. Up here, if you click on Tools, you can find this Device Description Installation tool. If you click this, it'll open up this Device Description Installation tool. If you click through here, you can register an EDS file. Here, you're going to want to select the EDS file to register. In this case, we're going to register this F4T EDS file. Once you work through the wizard and you get this, you have successfully completed the action pop-up, you know that you've added your EDS file to your software. You can click Finish, and now we're going to add our F4T to our Ethernet I/O tree. Right-click on your Ethernet I/O tree and add a new module. In this case, we're going to search F4T, and here's that EDS file that we just brought in. Double-clicking on this will create it. As you can see, I already have one already in here that we're going to use, so I'm going to name this something else. F4T2. And I have to give it a unique IP address that doesn't exist on our I/O tree. So since I already have one at this IP address, I'm going to pick a different IP address. The last step is we need to go modify our data types. Since the F4T communicates via reals, we need to switch this to a reel. You're going to see the size is going to automatically change to 120. Once it's created, you'll see it populate in your I/O tree. You can then download your changes to the PLC. Once you've downloaded your changes to the PLC, you can notice the new one that we added has a little yellow triangle next to it. This means it's in some sort of fault state. If you double click this, you click on your connection, it'll show you why it's faulted. In this case, it doesn't have a connection because the actual F4T that we have hooked up is on the IP address of 1.222. And that's why this one is working. The next step you're going to have to do is you're going to have to define a UDT. If you look over here under data types and user defined, you can right click and make a new data type. Type in whatever name you want. We called ours F4T inputs and F4T outputs. Once you have it defined, you can type in the different parameters that you're trying to communicate. The ones that we're using for inputs is going to be the PV and the control mode. And the outputs are going to be the set point. So if you remember those data types that we are going to remember from Composer, they're going to match here. So our set point data type is here, and our control mode data type is here. Once you have your UDTs defined, your user-defined data types defined, then you're going to have to make a tag that is using these data types. Once you have your user-defined data types defined for the communications that you want between the PLC and the F4T, then you have to map them to the I/O. And in order to do this, you need to make some tags with the new UDTs that you defined. The two tags that I made are F4T inputs and F4T outputs. You can name these whatever you want, but I suggest naming them as close to what they are. I'll show you how to do this now. You're going to want to add a new rung, and you're going to find this file miscellaneous type. You can also page over with the arrow. You are going to want to click on CPS, which is a copy statement. The other way to do this is to add any operator to your rung and double click on it, and you can type in the type of statement you want. In this case, CPS. Just going to set these up real quick. Now we're going to want to make a new tag. I'm going to call this F4T inputs 2, for example, and F4T outputs 2, for example. You can't have two things with the same name, so that's why I'm naming them as 2. Once you add these in here, if you hover over them, you see they are undefined. So you're going to right click on it and hit new. You can also use the shortcut key Control W. Here you see our name. Now this is where we need to select our data type. So this is where we're going to have to change it to our new UDT that we just made. So for our inputs, we made F4T underscore inputs. Then you can hit create. Same thing for your outputs. Right click, new, change your data type to F4T outputs, or whatever the UDT name that you named your UDT. Then you can hit create. Now we need to actually copy the data from our IO to our new tags. So if you see in the example up here, we're just taking the raw data from the F4T. So in here, you can type in the name of the Ethernet device in your Ethernet tree over here that you're trying to talk to. In our case, it's the F4T. So we're going to type in F4T. If you see this little drop-down arrow, you can expand to see what you're selecting. Since we're looking for the raw data, I'm going to select this arrow here until I find the data. We're going to want to choose data bracket 0, which is our first register of data. Now we're going to want to do the same thing for our outputs. F4T, hit our drop-down arrow. This time we're going to go to O for outputs. Notice on the first one we selected I for inputs. Data bracket 0. The length is the amount of data you are trying to copy between it. For our example, we have one input and two outputs. The last thing is the length, and you can just set the length of 1, which will be copying all the data. Once you see your rung no longer has any errors, you can finalize your edits. In this example, since I already had this one working, I'm just going to delete the duplicate we made. And our code should look like this. Now that we have everything set up correctly, we can go over here and we're going to look at, this is our F4T inputs and our F4T outputs. You can see as we change the set point in the PLC, we watch the set point on the F4T change. So when I just typed a 20 in, we saw it go from 0 to 20. When I type 30 on my set point, you see my set point changes to 30 on the controller. Now for our inputs, you see PV is our thermocouple feedback. So this is the actual ambient temperature because that's how we have our thermocouple hooked up. If we warm up the thermocouple, we can watch this number increase, and it increases at the same rate on the controller. You can see the control mode is currently in 10. You can find what 10 means in the Excel spreadsheet that you downloaded. For this example, it means our control loop is in auto. As I change the control loop's mode on the controller to manual, you see that number change to 54. You can, in this Excel spreadsheet, it maps out that 54 means auto and what the different numbers correlate to the different modes. For the control mode, this is the state that your control loop is in. So right now, we see a number 62. This means that it is off. If we change it to auto mode, we see the number change to 10. You can figure out the map and correlate these numbers to the control loop mode with the Excel spreadsheet that we downloaded from Watlow's website.
All right, so I hope you found this F4T to Allen Bradley connection tutorial video helpful. Ross, thank you so much for your help.
Thanks, Rich.
Yep, Paul couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you.
And if you guys have any more questions, feel free to reach out to us anytime.
Yep, thank you so much.
Thanks.